Hey, Nikki Brown here. No matter where you are and no matter what part of the world you're in, I hope that you're having a good day. So, today I'm here to talk about change. And many of us have heard the saying that change is inevitable, which is true. Things change all the time, even if we don't want them to. A lot of people are creatures of habit, so they don't like for things to change, it upsets them. But you kind of have to go with the flow in certain situations. So, someone sent me a quote earlier. Um, if you change the way you see things, the way you see things will change, right? Which is basically loosely based on the Wayne Dyer quote. If you change the way you look at things, the way you look at things, um, no, if you change the way you look at things, the things you look at change, right? That's a Wayne Dyer quote. So we've heard similar things, especially if you've ever seen The Secret, or if you ever heard anything about the law of attraction. Um, also, just thought of a biblical term or quote a little while ago, but I can't think of it right this second. Um, but we've also heard things like whatever you focus on grows. Um, and it's important that you don't focus on the outcome of a thing, right? So when we talk about the law of attraction, it's important to envision things, but it's also important for you to feel what you want to envision or what you want to manifest. And that word manifest doesn't sit well with some people. Um, some people say if you pray about it, that'll fix things and prayer works. Um, but I typically don't like to use the word pray because I do have a degree in English. So I understand the etymology of words, and I understand that words are meant to program us in a certain way. And so PREY is basically the same as PRAY. And someone's going to tell me that I'm wrong or I don't know what I'm talking about. But I have looked certain words up in the Oxford English Dictionary, and I have gotten teachers from, you know, people who have their doctorate and other levels of degree who have studied this same etymology, and we're all pretty much in alignment with the meaning of these words. So I'm very comfortable with what I'm sharing, and I always encourage people, you don't have to believe me, but you can look it up for yourself if you choose to. I also understand that some people only want to read the Bible, they're not interested in anything else, and that's fine too, right? Because everything is not for everybody, and I'm not here to force anything on anyone. I'm just here to enlighten those who would like the knowledge, right? So, anyway, um, if you want things to change, you have to feel, you know. The thing about that is, when we understand that our thoughts become things, there are times when we have ebbs and flows. We can be up and it could be stuck. But then if something happens to make us feel sad or mad, or whatever that feeling is, it's not always the easiest thing to stay um, within that mindset of everything's going to work out, right? And a lot of us recite affirmations. I am enough. I am worthy. Everything always works out well for me. And we feel those things in the moment, and we may manifest things. We may manifest, houses, cars, homes, money, and we'll be there for a certain period of time, and then something may happen where it changes or it goes away or there isn't as much of it, right? And so, well, then whatever we focus on grows. So if we focused on the thing that happened that changed it, it changes the feeling within, right? But that's because we're busy focusing on the outcome instead of just doing the work to get there. And the work to get there is always having a elevated mindset, is what I like to say, right? Again, when things happen, when someone aggravates us, when that bill comes in the mail, instead of being thankful and grateful that we have the bill and we have the finances and resources to cover the bill, sometimes we have a different response. And so guess what? Then more bills come. But if we get a check in the mail and we rejoice about that check, more checks start to come. And so it's a feeling. And so the feeling that you have when those checks come is the feeling that we're supposed to maintain. The feeling that you have when you're in love is the feeling you're supposed to maintain. The feeling that you have when you love yourself is a feeling that we should maintain. But again, if we go through a breakup, if again we dishing out more money than we thought we would, or if something happens, you know, um, to your car, right? If something happens with one of your relatives, it can change those feelings, right? Then there are some people like myself, I've been manifesting and speaking, good affirmations to myself for years, right? But then it becomes a matter of you may want it, but are you ready for it, right? Is it ready for you? Because a lot of people say, oh, all you have to do is this and all you have to do is that. Well, there are some people who have been doing just what they've been recommended to do for years, right? And they feel like nothing's changed because things haven't changed. Again, they may have a high and low, but it seems like they have more lows than highs, right? A lot of times we worry about things and, we've all been told you're not supposed to worry. You're just supposed to, you know, surrender it and let it go, right? Again, some of these things are easier said than done, right? Because even if you're the type, I know I used to always, and I said this in a video just the other day, I was always the type, like, if there's nothing I can do about it, I'm not going to worry about it. I'm just going to continue to live my life and enjoy what I can enjoy. And things would always work out. But things still always work out. Like a lot of times we'll stress and worry, but a lot of times that stress and worry comes from the fears and insecurities of other people who have projected that onto us. And I know that's one of the things that happened in my situation because, again, I was told, oh, well, you don't care. That means you're unloving and you're unkind because you're not stressing and worrying about this thing that I'm stressed and worried about. And again, my philosophy when I was a young woman was always, if I can't do anything about it, why am I worried about it? It didn't make sense to me. But then over the years, because this programming was put into my head, these projections were put into my mind, I loosely started to feel the same way, unbeknownst to me, right? It had gotten down, deep down in my subconscious mind. So then I had to look at myself and say, well, who are you? Where did this person go? Where did you go? You hear people say they lost themselves, right? Especially in a relationship. Because again, you have people who will say, well, you're unrealistic. You're supposed to be, stressed and worried because this is going on and that's going on. But if there's a bill there and you're not able to take care of it, what are you going to do about it if you can't do anything about it? Right? And usually, like I said, everything always works out. So we'll stress and worry, and if the thing works out, and then we move on to the next thing because now we've manifested this feeling of worry, right? So then something else comes along to make us worry, right? Instead of just enjoying what you can enjoy, being thankful and grateful for what you do have in the moment, right? Then more of that will come to you. Now, when I ask if you want it, but are you ready for it? Are you holding on to people, places, and things that do not serve a good purpose in your life? Right? Whether that be relatives, romantic partners, friends, your jobs, an old car that you should have gotten rid of a long time ago, because I was in that situation. I did tell that story in another video. Right? How I was holding on to this car because it's a Honda, and Hondas are good cars. So I need to keep this car. And I ended up keeping that car for months because the transmission went and I wasn't able to take care of it that time. That first time I had the transmission problem, I had the transmission rebuilt and all was well. That was one of those highs. Then when it happened again, I didn't have the money to pay for it, so I felt like it was a low, right? But within months of me selling the car and being ready to move that thing out the way to welcome in something new, the something new came in. And in the meantime, I just did what I needed to do, which was walk to the bus stop, take the bus, take Ubers, take Lyft, and still enjoy life the way it came to me, right? Are we are we in spiritual warfare, right? So that goes back to holding on to people, places, and things that do not serve a good purpose in our lives. Because some people, whether knowingly or unknowingly, are intentionally causing strife and friction in our lives, right? They love to see us angry. They love to see us upset. They do things to intentionally provoke that feeling because they want us to stay down in a low place like they are. And a lot of times we don't realize that. We think, oh, this is my sister. My sister loves me. Oh, this is my brother. My brother loves me. My cousin, mother, father, auntie, uncle, godmother, friend of 30 years. Some people don't want to see you happy. Some people don't want to see you doing better than them. So they will plant seeds of doubt and fear and insecurity in your mind intentionally. Like, girl, come on, let's get this drink. Don't worry about that. What do they say? Misery loves company. So if your friend has been on her job for 20 years and you're talking about start a business and you don't and your business fails, it doesn't work out for you, she's going to say, "Girl, let's just go have a drink. It's going to be all right." Cuz she's happy your business fails. And again, this could be even be a relative. Because if you don't have those people who are encouraging and supportive, then usually there's some jealousy, there's some animosity there. And again, they don't want to see you succeed. They don't want to see you in that successful relationship, especially if they don't have a successful relationship. And even if there is a relationship, but their relationship is unhealthy, and you meet someone who's great, they do not want to see you in a successful and great relationship. While they have a miserable relationship that they don't even really want. Right? So again, our thoughts become things. So if you're around people who vibrate low and think from a low place, these become your thoughts, knowingly or unknowingly. Because again, the doubt is now embedded in your subconscious mind. So then whatever you focus on grows. So we're focusing on what we don't have a lot of times. And so what we don't have continues to be true because whatever you say is true. Right? And so again, when we're in those moments where we feel like we're in a low place or I should be here by now, I should be there by now. But that's holding on to the outcome. And that's not what something we should do. And so that usually means we're not ready for the outcome because we're still trying to dictate how it should look and what it should be. But that's not always up to us to decide. We may say where we want to go or what we want to be, but if that's not where you're meant to be and that's not what you're meant to do, it's probably not going to work out. Because sometimes the Most High has a different plan than we have for ourselves. I always say we're here to learn from one another. We're here to learn from one another's differences. That's why we're different. We are not here to judge. We are not here to criticize. We are not here to get mad if we can't control someone who does not want to do what we want, the way we pictured it in our mind. Even if it's your children. Even if you're a boss, right? There's a difference between being a boss and being a leader, right? A lot of people are bossy, which is really negative, right? And they're not leaders. If, a leader really shouldn't do anything that they shouldn't ask anyone to do something that they wouldn't be willing to do themselves. A leader shows appreciation to those they're leading, right? Almost like discipleship. Right? So you're leading people so that, yeah, they could take your place. Not because you're intimidated, though, because that's not the place you're supposed to come from. But if somebody lifts you up, you're supposed to lift others up and teach them everything that you know. Right? If they're open, ready, willing, and able to learn it, because some people are not. But still, you lead by example and you do your part. Whether people are willing to receive it, open to the change or not, is really not your concern. That's their problem. But again, a good leader is willing to learn, right, from those who they're leading. And a good leader is willing to teach because learning should be reciprocal. It's just not about, oh, well, I know everything and you have to just listen to me and what I say do, or what I say, or how it's supposed to be, right? Again, even if this is your children. Some people hold themselves back, right? Tyrese wrote a book, um, Standing in Your Way, How to Stop Standing in Your Own Way, or something like that. There are lots of people who stand in their own way, and myself included. Because again, there are times where I'm up and it's stuck, and a good energy is flowing in, resources are flowing in, and all is well. And then if it goes left, like me being out of work on disability for over a year, who in the world expected that to happen? Not I. Not the hustler, not the go getter who, is getting ready to get it out the mud, who, ran a business out of my own home and, was joyful to do so, right? Put thousands of dollars in finances and sweat equity into this business, and to turn around and have to go back to work, that can be disappointing. But at the same time, it wasn't, because I learned from those experiences, right? It even taught me how to be a better leader. Although I was already a good leader, my very first job was McDonald's, and I've told this story before too. They wanted me to be a manager, right? Just about every job I've ever had, they wanted to promote me because I do have a good work ethic. And this is not bragging, but in my own business, I also had a good work ethic. The thing about that is, I didn't always have the resources or the finances to keep up with what I needed to do in the business. And I often say most people who have successful businesses, they have help, right? They have a mate or their relatives are willing to help them out. But when you have no one, and I mean no one, supporting and encouraging you, that makes it all the more challenging. The people I see who have successful businesses, they all had someone, at least one person in their corner. And you have people who pretend to be in your corner, but they're really not. They really don't want to see you succeed, or they don't want to see you succeed before they succeed. And they'll pretend to be in your corner, but you could be on the phone with them and they're saying this and they're saying that, and as soon as they get off the phone with you, they're kicking you back into somebody else. Or they're projecting doubt and fear and insecurities onto you. And then people will say things like, oh, well, if you just listen to what I said you should do, then it'll work out. But the ideas that these people may come up with require money. A lot of times people aren't willing to help you with the financial part of it. Sometimes they are not even in a position to help you out. But are they willing to help you make the products and go to the thrift market or the flea market and set up a table and help you sell the stuff on a Saturday or a Sunday? Because sometimes the sweat equity is worth more than financial. Right? I had a cousin, I said, just give me $50 to set you up a table. You have a disability, use that to your advantage. That might help you get more, customers, right? This particular relative went and bought the same stuff that I sell and tried to do it on her own. That's fine. You can do whatever you want to do. But it would have been much more beneficial if you already did it with an established business to help grow the business, a family business, right? This is how I presented it. This is a family business. We can all eat if we all put in a little bit of work. No, because I don't want to see you do it. I don't want to see you do better than me. So I'm not going to help you. I'm going to do it myself. As if we on the street selling cocaine and one got red tops and the other one has white tops. And I hope that that wasn't something that I shouldn't be saying on YouTube, right? But it that's what it felt like to me, like somebody hustling in the street and trying to undercut another person, with the same product. But you see CVS and Rite Aid on the same corner, or Walgreens on the same corner. You can see 4 gas stations at one intersection. They're not competing with each other. Everyone has a preference. One might like Exxon, other one BP, another one Shell, and another one might like Valero. Right? And they're all eating. And they're not trying to compete with one another. They just share a space in the same area, and it's okay. But for some people, especially those my color, they don't get that. They want to operate more like crabs in a barrel, pulling each other down. But if you talk to someone who is the zodiac sign of Cancer and they consider themselves a crab, because that's the symbol for Cancer, they feel like they're just trying to get to the top so they can pull the other ones up. So everybody's mindset is different. So in their mind, they're actually being helpful. And then again, if it's someone older who tried to start a business or had a business that didn't succeed, they're projecting their fears, insecurities, doubts into you because they don't want you to go through the same thing that they went through. Instead of, again, they should have learned from it so they can do better and teach you, okay, this is where I went wrong in a business. So don't do it this way, but yes, you should still do it. I had a cousin, he said he wanted to start a business, but he was told, oh, you just get a job. Which again, a lot of people in our community, that's the first thing they say. Oh, just get a job. And if you want to do anything outside of getting a job, like going to school or start a business, it's discouraged. Because why? This person didn't do it. And sometimes it's their own jealousy, insecurity, self-doubt, and that attitude of, how dare you try to do better than me? I didn't do all of that. So what you doing all of that for? I dealt with that with my last job. So again, you may have one mindset, but the people that you're surrounded by has a mindset that is on a different level. They can't think on that level because they've never aspired to be on that level. So if he said, oh yeah, I have my own business. What kind of business? Oh, okay. Then some of those same people may be inspired and say, oh, I bought me LLC today. I got me a tax ID today. But when you talked about your business, they had absolutely nothing to say. One way or the other. It was just like, oh. Not, oh, well, tell me more about it. Or I would like to buy something. Or I would like to support you. So not only are you holding yourself back, you're surrounded by other people who are holding you back as well. And some people don't believe in it, but it might be part of your karma. But the lesson may be to rise above those comments, those dismissals, those doubts, those fears. Change is necessary, but it's also inevitable. Right? And again, who we surround ourselves by may be part of some spiritual warfare that we're unaware of. And so we have to ask ourselves, What did I learn from this situation? And not allow ourselves to be like those same people who are not on the same level. We can still elevate to a higher level and be the best version of ourselves. But you can't listen to the haters and the naysayers who don't have that motivation or ambition to do anything other than work a job. Even if they did go to college and get a degree, really, college just teaches you how to be a better employee. So if you get your bachelor's associate's degree, you're a great employee. If you get your bachelor's degree, you're an even better employee. Your master's degree, you're a great employee. Your doctorate, you're an excellent employee. But maybe you don't want to be an employee. Maybe you want to be an employer. Maybe the type of business that you started wasn't the type of business that would be beneficial and people didn't feel a need, see a need for it. I know that one of my goals was to stop people from getting so sick. I'm like, this is a great product. And everyone says that it's great, right? I've gotten great reviews. But I also had 5 major brands watching my Etsy shop, right? Unilever was one. I can't remember the other 4, but I did an interview and this was brought to my attention. And I know that after that, I started seeing some of these natural products with some of the same, um, you know, ingredients that I was using being marketed and advertised in the stores. Like Walmart now sells shea butter. And there's all kinds of mango and all kinds of different things in the store that people are using now. And some people were doing it then, but it's like even more so now. Because people know when they see a great product and they know when you get good reviews. And we are being watched, whether we know it or not. That's just the reality. I know when the movie Enemy of the State first came out, I think that was like in 1998. I knew then, I was like, okay, they're trying to tell us something. This is going to be the start of them watching us. There's going to be cameras everywhere. And literally, right in the palm of your hand is a camera. And you can be watched from the front of the phone to the back of the phone. And we're encouraged not to sleep next to our phone because of all the radiation that it emits. It's not good for you to sleep in the same room with your technology while you're sleeping. There's EMF protection, but a lot of people are unaware of that, right? A lot of people are trusting. We had a lot of dis-ease that we did not have 50, 60 years ago. I just said this in a video yesterday. We use microwaves. There's all type of towers everywhere. Now they have not only towers, but they have what they call repeaters. So they have repeaters in between the towers so that your calls don't drop often. Have you noticed that your calls don't drop that much, even no matter who you have service with? So yes, if we change the way we see things, the things that we see will change. But in this world that we live in, that's easier said than done sometimes. And I do my best to do that, and I do my best to live by that philosophy. But when the reality of what the situation is pops into my mind again, it's not always easy to maintain that. Especially, again, when you're all alone, right? You have no one to encourage or support you. And you're constantly having to support and encourage yourself, which is great. It's great that you can do that. But there are times where it gets challenging. It becomes challenging. Again, especially when life happens. And that doubt starts to creep into your mind. And those projected fears and insecurities creep into your mind. And then I find myself repeating those affirmations, right? Everything always works out well for me. Everything always works out well for me. I will repeat it in my mind. And everything does always work out. Again, we worry about things and they almost always work out. Not almost always. They always work out. Whether they work out the way we wanted them to or not, they always work out. Things always work out. So, how do you stay focused, right? How do you manifest? When you manifest something and it comes, and then nothing else comes for a while, how do you maintain that elevated state, right? When that person comes with their doubts and fears and insecurities that they're projecting onto you, how do you maintain? Do you write those affirmations down? Are you writing in your journal? Are you writing your dreams down to see what messages are coming to you, what you need to learn from certain situations? Are you looking up your dreams that you have? And again, some people don't believe in it, and that's fine. You feel free to no longer watch the video because I'm not trying to push anything onto anybody. But I do know that in Jeremiah 7:20, Jeremiah was trying to tell people the truth and they mocked him. And he asked, why? Why do you have me telling people this when they keep mocking me? So I don't worry about those who mock me or doubt me or say, oh, I'm crazy. She's crazy. She doesn't know what she's talking about. That's fine. Because somebody's going to get under the comments and say something slick. And guess what I'm going to do? And then I'm going to say, thank you for your comment. I appreciate your feedback. Or something along those lines. Because people will try to provoke you. Because again, they're usually vibrating from a low place. And they want you to vibrate from a low place. They don't want you to elevate to your highest self or that highest level of consciousness, into your crown chakra. And again, some people don't believe that these things exist. And just because people don't believe that they exist does not mean that the laws of the universe do not continue to prevail. So you can't concern yourself with what people believe or don't believe, because again, there are some people who only read the Bible and that's it. They're not interested in learning anything else about anything else. Although all these universal laws come from the Most High Creator, a lot of people were taught that they're evil, so they stay away from them. But they come from the same source. So if it was created by the Creator, how could it be evil? But again, people believe what they were taught and they don't try to learn anything different. And I get it. But again, our thoughts become things, and change is inevitable. So we have to be ready, willing, and able to change in order for things to change. But even when you're ready, willing, and able to change, until you're fully healed, you're still going to continue to attract people who are unhealed. Some of those people may need your help, right? And I've said this, I went through a 9-month life coaching program and I went through a 1-month yoga certification, right? And the mindset is different because it's all about changing your mindset, right? The quote I say is, change. It's something about change. Mm, mm, mm. I can't think of it right now. But I often say it, right? Um, Something along the lines of our thoughts become things. It's not what if we change the way we look at things, which again, that was just a reminder for me, right? I'm trying to think. Why can't I think of it right now? Well, I don't want to spend too much time trying to think about it, but let me see. Mm, um, but basically, all it takes is a decision to change, and you must change your mind in order for change your mind, change your life. I don't know why I couldn't think of that. But if you change your mind, like some people say, oh, well, my mom was angry, so I'm going to be angry too. But you don't have to be angry. You don't have to follow in the same footsteps. You can think for yourself and do something different. Anyway, my phone is overheating right now, so I'm going to go ahead and end this video. This happened yesterday too. I don't know what that lesson is about. But as always, don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe. And I love y'all. Later. Mwah.